In fact, the first few times I taught this class, my end-of-semester evaluations looked pretty similar. Students commented on how much they loved and enjoyed the course, but wanted to know, where's the psychology? Because I was unable to find a book that truly met the needs and desires of my students, I decided to write this one. This book will not focus on psychology to the total exclusion of other factors, because that would ultimately do a disservice to listeners by providing an utterly imbalanced perspective. I put psychology front and center throughout, but I also give due consideration to biological, evolutionary, and socio-cultural influences on sexuality where relevant. As some of you may recognize, this book mirrors the biopsychosocial perspective adopted in most health psychology textbooks. When it comes to teaching a sexuality course, my philosophy is to be sex positive. I've heard people define sex positive in many different ways, but my personal definition involves 1. Adopting comprehensive and inclusive definitions of gender and sexual orientation. 2. Rejecting narrow definitions about what constitutes sex. For example, the view that only vaginal intercourse counts. 3. Giving due consideration to the potential positive and negative consequences of being sexually active. 4. Providing students with the information and tools they need to optimize their sexual health and to make healthy decisions. 5. Promoting healthy and respectful sexual and romantic relationships. 6. Recognizing that monogamy and marriage are not universal relationship goals and ideals. 7. Understanding that not everyone is a sexual being and that a lack of sexual desire is not inherently dysfunctional. And 8. Respecting people who have different views about sex. I kept this philosophy in mind when writing this book with the goal of making it as inclusive and respectful as possible for a diverse audience. Although I've done my best to present the information in this book with great sensitivity, I fully recognize that not everyone will agree with everything I've written, despite the fact that it is all based in science. Some of the topics we will cover may challenge your beliefs and make you feel uneasy. This is to be expected. It is not uncommon for sex research to make people uncomfortable, which is part of the reason why this field is, and always has been, highly controversial. Should you find that you disagree with something in this book, please avoid the temptation to immediately ignore, dismiss, or discount it. The integrity of this field and the advancement of science fundamentally depend upon a free exchange of ideas and a willingness to consider new and different perspectives. I urge you to keep an open mind as you approach the chapters ahead, and if you encounter things that personally challenge you, use them as learning opportunities. Perform additional readings. Ask questions. Hold discussions with friends, classmates, or colleagues. Think about how we could better test these ideas. You do not have to change your mind. All I ask is that you commit to educating yourself and acknowledging that different perspectives exist. It is also vital to recognize that our knowledge of human sexuality has limitations. It is a relatively young field of science that historically, and even today, has received little funding. The result is that some sex questions have yet to be empirically tested, and for some topics, we can only point to single studies with small, unrepresentative samples. Further, many studies have not included sexual and gender minority participants, which means their perspectives and experiences are not always represented. In the chapters that follow, I present the best available evidence that we have, but keep the limitations in mind and recognize that as more research is conducted, our conclusions may change. After listening to this book, my hope is that you will have a better understanding of and appreciation for the amazing complexity of human sexuality, as well as the incredible variation that exists in sexual perspective.